Mr. President, how can you sell a pipeline? How can Ruto sell a pipeline where we get our fuel? How can he sell KICC? What is wrong with it? He wants to sell the port of Mombasa. He wants to sell everything that Kenyans were left with by our forefathers. Those who are talking to President William Ruto, tell him to leave KICC, to leave ADC farms, to leave the pipeline, to leave everything he found in our country. The other thing is anaweza kuenda tafute yake. Another thing, Your Excellency President, why are you taxing people so much? And then when you have collected the taxes, I'm in the Senate with the Congo Mogeni, my Prime Minister, we don't know how much he has borrowed. He has hit 4.6 trillion shillings in 1 year. Where is the money going? This is the problem we have with the president. Why is he not able? Okay, if we are stupid people, tell our leaders, call Martha Karua, call Raila, call Kalonzo, call Nyaribo, call Simbarati, sit with them and say, this is what I've borrowed and this one I've not stolen. But it looks like everything they are stealing. Now, what does he want us to do?
What I'm warning Kenyans is that revolutions are a whirlwind. And a whirlwind, when it is whirling, it collects everything, including dust and including trash. So Kenyans should remember that even as we do the revolution, we must look past the revolution. We should not be too emotional, not look past the revolution.
Just tell me how that revolution looks like for Kenyans, or in your perspective.
In my perspective, a successful revolution looks like this. We need Kenyans who already know what should happen. Going to villages to do civic education, to bring to the light other Kenyans who have not understood what's happening or have not bought the idea of a revolution. We need the revolution to be sold to people, to be marketed to the rest of Kenyans.
We have all complained about what Kenya has done to us and what the leaders of Kenya continue to do and have done to us. But it's also time we turn around and look at the mirror and ask ourselves, what have we done for Kenya and what can we do for Kenya? Hii kazi si ya Morara peke yake, or other civic leaders who are trying to fight the way into good governance and an end to corruption. Hii kazi siyo yetu peke yetu. This job is for every single Kenyan, rich or poor. Even a street boy has a role to play. Even a person sick in hospital has a role to play. Even a police officer and a military officer, they have a role to play. Musicians and content creators and actors, you have a role to play to create content that will communicate into the hearts and souls of Kenyans. You've seen what Crazy Kanas tried to do. His video on Instagram alone has 47 million views. It's being viewed in Kenya and abroad. I've received that video even from people who are not even Kenyans who are living abroad. He's doing his part. I, Morara, am doing my part. What are you doing, you who are watching this video? What are you doing? Of course, watching this video is part of it. Liking my content is part of it. Sharing my content with your friends for them to get this education is part of it. But you need to pick something you can do. Not all of us can be good speakers. Not all of us can be orators. Not all of us can be creative content creators or musicians. Not all of us can be politicians. But surely, there is something you can do. And you need to ask yourself what you can do. You need to pick up what we call citizen responsibility. You need to ask yourself, why are you Kenyan? And as you are Kenyan, what are your role as a Kenyan? I can assure you that one of those roles is keeping the people in government accountable. If you are working in a government ministry, you see corruption every day, and you've not registered a fake account for you to tell us the corruption, we who are confident and can speak about it and who don't care about death or abduction. If you've not shared that information with us, then you are part of the problem in Kenya. You are enabling bad governance in Kenya. If you're working in a bank and you can see millions and billions of dollars or Kenya shillings being transferred from account to account, and you know that it is fishy, and you know that it is corruption proceeds, and you've not told us anything, or you've not sounded an alarm, even through a proxy, you are part of the problem in Kenya. If you are there and you are celebrating corrupt leaders, saying those who are questioning their source of wealth are jealous, saying that those who are demanding for bad governance will fail, that it has been tried before and it failed and therefore it cannot succeed. If you are celebrating those leaders because they come from your tribe, you are definitely part of the problem that is in Kenya. You are responsible for the poverty, for the pain that the people of Kenya are suffering. It is time for you to change and work with the rest of Kenyans as we demand better governance and better change. At this moment in time, we cannot trust anybody in government or opposition, because even opposition has benefited from corruption. They do deals with government, they register companies and do tenders with government. It's not possible to trust them at this time. But we need change. And I believe that that change will happen. I don't have to be any political position. I don't have to be a governor or senator or anything. My interest is a fair and just system. I'll go back to my business, make my money. But if I'm entrusted with a civic duty or a political responsibility, I will do it with uttermost excellence and without corruption and with very great integrity. I want to ask you who is watching this video to also pick something that you can do and do it for Kenya. Sisi wote tunakuhitaji. Kenya inakuhitaji. Chagua kitu ambayo utafanya kufaidi Kenya.
If there's one thing all of us should be grateful for, is the path of independence that he did by allowing those institutions never again to be knocking doors of the executive, by allowing financial autonomy for them to be able to control their funding.
You forgot he also the first actors to swear and the judges who are rejected by his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta.
Need I say more?
And he also needs to respect the outcome.
Need I say more? Now, point to me something that he has not respected. One, and you will find nothing.
Calling a principal secretary to put in the money without court consideration to proceed with the construction of the road in Nyahururu.
When?
January 2024.
Where?
During a federal service.
There are so many examples, Muduma. That's why
very many examples.
There are so many examples, and we don't need to go there. There are so many examples. Even there are so many. Even when the housing project had been
it went the full hog.
President himself indicated that the president.
All he said. All he said. All he said, Wakili. To be honest,
yes.
And again, let's be honest. All he said is we need to be careful as a nation.
Yeah.
Not to use our courts to stifle development. That's all he said.
In other words, people should not go to court.
No, we need to be careful. He has never told anybody not to go to court. He has never done that. All he said is let us be careful not to stifle our development by allowing every Tom, Dick and Harry to go present.
When someone was in court, the president said mambo ni matatu. And
that one he was very particular.
Remember, there was someone who was in court, and let me tell you, it led to those matters being withdrawn, and everyone knows. That's why I'm saying Muduma.
Wakili.
I'll want to have
Wakili again. It's very good. No, it's very good.
Rule of law discussion.
It's very good to put this in perspective. What he has said, the mambo ni matatu. The president was addressing a particular person. He was addressing a particular subject. What used to be the norm? And Wakili, you know,
and what were the three issues you pointed out?
Wakili, you know this very well. And you see the reason why Wakili is laughing. What people used to do, they would run to court, get orders, sit on them. You know, like the issue of sugar.
Yes.
All right? They would hold everything just because they have a court order.
But it's issued by the court. There is a way to challenge that order.
And really, that is why, at even one point, the Judicial Service Commission had to chastise some judges.
Okay, so Gabriel, we'll finish up because we are 7 minutes past the time, but you agree with me of the 3 issues that the head of state pointed out, he has none to execute any under the Constitution.
Which one?
He cannot arrest or prosecute someone.
Yes.
He cannot take someone to court. There are agencies to do that.
Yes.
And the third was to send someone to heaven. We are all sentenced to death. Nonetheless, we are human beings, is it?
Remember, on the legal threshold, Governor DP Gachagua is being accused of violation of the Constitution and gross misconduct. He is on record, Sam, at the very minimum, as a reckless ethnic kingpin who projects unashamedly the impression that he's a gatekeeper for Mount Kenya interests. At worst, he's a dangerous politician that should not be holding public office or state office. Article 131 of the Constitution identifies the presidency, which constitutes of the president and the deputy president, as a symbol of national unity. So I can pull the Constitution and read to you Article 131 in express language, and then contradistinguish that with Gachagua's utterances. Article 131, sub-article 2. Paragraph C. Authority of the president, and this must be read to mean the authority of the deputy president as well. The president shall promote and enhance the unity of the nation. The presidency consists of the president and the deputy president. It is on record, Sam. And judges also live in this country. They watch news. Gachagua has repeatedly antagonized the rest of the country that did not vote for this government. He has said, this is a government by shares. I don't know what kind of apology would mitigate that. In fact, talking of mitigation, you have to be convicted first. Then you mitigate, then you are sentenced. So we accept his advance apology, but we will use it in mitigation, which means Gachagua must be impeached on the threshold and on the merit, having tried so hard with limited success to antagonize the country, divided along ethnic groups' lines, having admitted that this is a government of shareholding, and he told people, if you did not vote for this administration, you have another chance in 2027 to vote for it, to be able to access government services. In essence, he has dismantled the architectural design that underpins our democracy, that after the election, service is for all.
Right.
So we will not accept that apology, and even if we accept it, it cannot save him from the consequences that must follow.
There's something you've said, that he is guilty of insubordination because he has contradicted, he has opposed Adani. What do you mean?
I mean, Sam, the deputy president has made utterances that run contrary. You even wonder whether the president and the deputy president sit in the cabinet. He has made utterances, very serious utterances, that looked at in totality are counterproductive to Kenya Kwanza agenda. Among them, when the president is proposing and pushing for a broad-based government, he has retreated back to his backyard and said, we did not vote for Raila Odinga, and now he's in government. And used that as a basis to reach out to Uhuru Kenyatta. When the president is trying to create a framework that co-opts everyone, and you make statements that undermine that, there is only one way to look at it: insubordination.
Okay.